Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hi. Good morning or afternoon.
I know, I was thinking that too. I was like, what time is it where you're at?
Well, I'm here. Yeah.
Oh,
So
you're in
today I'm here.
Chicago?
You're in
I
Chicago?
am.
Very
Yes.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So
I'm
same
super
time zone.
excited, Miss Lindsay, for you taking the time out to talk with us and our viewers on today's podcast. So I appreciate it a lot. You look beautiful, by the
Oh,
way.
oh, thank you. I love doing stuff like this. So I really appreciate even being asked. So thanks so much for including me.
Yes, absolutely.
Lindsay, where do you live?
I live in Chicago. So I'm in a part of Chicago called Westtown. It's kind of
Oh,
close
yeah.
to West Loop. Yeah. Ukrainian Village.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah, yeah. Definitely know that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's, tree-lined streets, but, 2 miles away from downtown or I mean, I work in the West Loop, so it's pretty nice and close to work and yeah, but then super
Oh,
neighborhoody
right now
here.
there.
Today it is. Yes. I walked to the gym and I was like, this was the feeling of what's to come. We've been so spoiled.
I felt the
So,
same
but
way this morning. And so
yeah.
I really do appreciate, I know that we are on a time frame. I know you have a busy schedule as well. So I do want to take the time to say thank you. And you know what? I want our viewers to know a little bit about you, Miss Lindsey Olson. So like, tell us a little bit about you. How did you get in the industry? Why Redken? How long have you been in the industry?
I know. I know. I'm at the point where I'm like, do we have to say the years? But no, I'm like, I'm very proud of it. Like, with Sam Via, they'll be like, she's been behind the chair for this many years and a part of Redken for this. And I'm like, I'm sounding old, but I'm really grateful to have had so much experience. I kind of landed in the industry a little unexpectedly. I started working at a salon when I was 16 as a shampoo assistant, basically not even knowing anything about the industry. I just was young and needed to like get a job and wasn't sure what I was going to do. I don't even think I had my hair professionally colored or anything at that point. But I thought, oh, a salon would be fun. And it was kind of like me, me, me. I'm like, oh, this might be fun for me. So I started working in a salon in Frankfurt and I fell in love with the industry. I was a part of a really cool salon team. They felt like family. The energy was so high. And I'm like, this is amazing. I'm like, I want to be a part of this. So I went to cosmetology school right after high school. And I think I know what it was. It was Redken specialist program. And I went to it and I was like, God, how do I like keep this going? And like, how can I be the best? If you would have known me then, or even told me I would have done half the things have done, I would have never believed you because I was not a public speaker. I just wanted to be good for my guests. Like, I was like, I bet if you teach it, this was my idea. I was like, I bet if you teach it, you'll be really good at it. I just didn't want to like lack confidence. And I was like, okay. And that's kind of how I got into the industry and also began my journey with Redken was I was like, I want to be a part of it all the time because you just feel this like high energy when you're in a class and around these people. And I was like, okay, I want more of that. And
It
now
is
like
an
18,
addiction. It's
it
like
is.
it is. It's like a whole nother, like I don't even think that a lot of people could actually say that about their industries, but this is like an industry that's just like it's always on point. It's exciting.
Oh,
It's it's got its thrills as well. So I agree.
yes. And it's funny because I open a lot of my classes like asking stylists what do they love about their job. And I do this like program that brings up all the answers on a screen. And I was like, look at this. Like some of it's about hair, but it's usually like, it's high energy. I change lives. I make people feel good. It's exciting. It's diverse. I said, how many people get to say this about their jobs? Like, I'm such a proud hairstylist. I had no idea what I was getting into, but I couldn't imagine my life any other way. And I'm like, the amount of opportunities that we have is literally ridiculously limitless. So yeah, I've been with Redken for like 18 years or something like that and behind the chair for about 20 now. And I'm like, wow. When it's like you're in front of people and I'm like, how many of you guys are 10 years plus, 15-year plus? I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it goes by so fast, doesn't it? I said
It
when I
does.
started, I was the youngest person in my salon. Now I'm getting to the
Mhm.
oldest person in my salon. It-
Yeah,
It's an amazing trip. So it's been a
it
lot.
is. It is. And one of the things I've heard from like another, like somebody I look to for like advice is like, how do you stay, like energized
Yeah.
and inspired? And one of the things this person said was like, yes, you have to like also know that you have the experience, like we've been around for many years, but also it's so important to stay around all the young people. Like it's like that balance of like your experience and also what the young people will be able to teach you and having that open mind to like share and also accept what they're there to teach you too. So.
Absolutely. You mentioned so when Sam talks about Miss Lindsay Olson, like how did you start working with Sam
I was really lucky. I
Why Redken
start,
too?
yeah, and that's a great question. And once you, if you have the opportunity to be in one or two programs with them, you'll see like and I know we talk about it, like they have such a heart. And one of the things I fell in love with the brand is when I started to do more and more events specifically for them, I was like, wow, they are literally what they say. They are there for the salon professional to be able to learn the most and to be very successful stylists. Like their whole thing was to give the salon professional like all the tools through education, and every gel and shampoo can be great. But like, how do they help the salon professional be successful? And that's what made me fall in love with the brand. And every time I've done a show where people that really don't need to be there for as many hours as they do, but they're there because they want to make sure that everybody's going to get what they need from the program, like the heart that goes into the efforts to make sure that salon professional has all the access to know how to use the products, to stay inspired, to learn more, whether it's digitally or at a big show. Like, I'm like, nobody does it like that. Like, it's like when you really see that they really genuinely want to make sure that the salon professional like can have the tools to be super successful. Yes, the shampoo is great, but like it's not just about the shampoo. It's like, how do they make sure that they're there to help salon professional? And that's the biggest takeaway when it comes to education.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that, especially too, like Redken's really, really good with the chemistry of the hair and everything else that goes into how to make sure that the hair is the healthiest, when you're coloring, what shampoo you should be prepping the hair with, and then sealing the toner. So I definitely agree with that. And especially working with Redken all these years, like all the reps and all of you educators that have come into, it's been, I mean, the energy's on fire. Like we just had a guest speaker yesterday too, as well. And you guys you can tell you guys, it's all from the heart with Redken.
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't have it if it wasn't like salons like you. Like you guys have 4 locations. I've been lucky enough to have been in there for the past couple of years, multiple times. It's the investment that the salons make into the education that also make it possible, because for me to go in and do more than one program, let alone more than 1 year in a row with a salon, like shows the level of investment that the salon makes for their, it's not one-sided. It's like the full circle of how salons help bring it in for their stylists, because not everybody's gonna be able to go to a symposium or the exchange. And this is what's so important about being part of salon culture, that I really try to, I know there's so many different ways to do it, but I'm like, teamwork is like literally everything for so many different reasons.
Yeah, we've been a Redken salon. I think it's got to be 25, 28 years, somewhere in there. So we've been with them forever. We've done a lot of the symposiums, which were fantastic. And we've been to exchange. We send a lot of our students to exchange. Like we just had 6 go again.
Yeah.
They just got back the other day.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, like, it's very powerful. And I think, we're at an interesting place with the industry. And as much as I love, there's so many different ways to do it, I strongly advise from people to work with the team, because when you're on your own and you're trying to get to a class and have the continued education, it's time, it's money. It's like, God, work with a team that'll help you have that. Because, as you know, like how many years we've been in the industry, I'm still excited to learn new things. Like I have so much I can learn. Everything from techniques to trends to just how to do things better and better. Like I kind of look at like even hair color. I'm like, I think some of it is that we just got better at it. And this is why it looks so much more natural. Cause like we kind of took it like so extreme in the beginning. I'm like, now we know how to make it just look like pretty, like natural.
So let's go back. So Sam Villa. So
oh yeah.
How did you guys get it? Yeah, like how did this all come about too?
Yeah, Sam's amazing, and I'm sure you guys have met him and worked with him. He's like the biggest heart ever, and he wants to help as many people as possible. And I was very lucky, like in the very beginning of working with Redken, I did get to work with him on shows, like a year into the industry, which I was backstage for many years, but I got to be a part of working with him. So I got to work with him pretty close for a couple of years in a row, where we did multiple shows in a row. And then he launched his ambassador program. And this is one thing I would also say, like, because so many opportunities have come to me because I finished hair. And, I talk about that because stylists can get very wrapped up and they want really big tickets of hair color. And yes, hair color can make us so much money. But like, if I didn't focus on finishing hair, Sam wouldn't have known who I was. I wouldn't have worked at the exchange. It's actually how I got a part of the exchange too, is because not only was I teaching, because finishing hair is very full cycle. It's educational for stylists, but it's also what's very inspiring for the guest. Yeah. And Sam markets both sides of it. He wants to help stylists as well as he wants to help guests know how to blow dry their hair better, use a flat iron, or put waves in the hair. So because I had done content and shoots that focus on finishing, this is what also got me to be a part of Zambia ambassadorship, because you need to show that skill set. This is, I mean, guests want to know maybe a verbiage, but they don't really care how I put the foil in their hair. They just want to know, maybe they want to know maybe which products to use on their hair, or how to hold the iron different, you know, like to get a different result. So I think making sure that that's part of who you are as a stylist is so important. And I, for myself, it's not about being an educator. It's like, as a stylist, like if I didn't focus on finishing, I would have missed out on all these opportunities that keep my guests excited, as well as myself, because they're excited to get their hair colored, but they're so excited to like see the finish and like learn a different way to like wave with their hair or do a ponytail or whatever it might be.
So if one wants to get into the Redken like ambassador, how does a hairstylist get into that?
So that is a great question. And there's a couple different ways you can do it. One, I want them to know you do not have to be famous and you don't have to have 100,000 followers, because we do have
you don't have to be Instagram famous?
No, my God, I know. You don't. And, you know, a lot of them look at the, like there's the influencer ambassador role, like Philip Forrester, you know, Sarah Botsworth, and they do have huge numbers next to them, but not everybody that has that role has that big of a number next to their name. So there's two ways you can do it. You can be a Redken educator artist, which is myself, which you go through their training program and, you know, do like work your way up with like product knowledge. Then you'll do look and learns, then you'll do workshops. So there's a whole like set program of how to do that with being an artist. And then you might get brought on, or you can get brought on as like a influencer ambassador. And like I work with Natalie, who owns Thrive Hair Collective. She doesn't have 100,000 followers, but she had a niche. Like she works on coloring hair extensions with Shades EQ and Redken Color. And that's what got her brought onto it. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. The role is different. Like we even have Redken educators, which are basically full-time with Redken. And then they're just like in a salon, maybe like one day a week. So there's a couple different ways, depends on like what where you want to be with it. Like, for me, I'm kind of like 50-50. I'm in the salon as well as I'm on the road with Redken, but I'm like a Redken artist. And then the ambassadors are like the influencer, but a little bit different. But I do want them to know, like, you just have to connect with the right person, which I'm happy to send anybody the right email person to reach out to, and just which way would you want to go with that? The ambassador role is more of like an invite, but it also takes them knowing who the heck you are. So I've always been a huge fan of any way I can help anybody. Like I wouldn't have the opportunities I had if someone didn't introduce me to Chris Sorby or, you know, James Vincent or, you know, like or Zambia. Like, so anybody that's interested in that part of it, let me know and I'll send them the right emails of who to talk to and what that looks like.
That's awesome.
Question, Lindsey. So in your journey, how long did it take you to get to where you're at? And I know it varies on the effort you put in, and how many days do you work in the salon and how many days do you travel? Just so we have an idea so people know.
I love that you asked this, because recently I posted something about me and Ruth Roche were doing a program together. And I said something about like dream life, you know, trust the process, things take time. And now I've been with the company for 18 years. So some things I've done multiple times already, but it took a while. And I had so many people comment like, oh, I needed to see that today because I'm feeling a little low. Like I've been an artist for 3 years. God, when I was an artist for 3 years, I was not standing on a symposium stage or sharing the stage with Ruth Roche. I was driving to Effingham, Illinois, teaching product knowledge, and I was happy about it. So like, I never, you know, I think I was with the network for maybe close to 5 years before I started teaching at the Exchange. And then that was when I started to do like, so I'd say 5 years till I started to do some like show work. Now I've done multiple symposiums, international programs and things like that. But I remember Carolyn O'Connor telling me like, you know, about the journey and how you're not going to get put on stage, even though you think you're ready, if you're not ready. And I never was like, why aren't I doing that? I was like, okay. Some people get very like, I want this now. And it's like, you have to find that balance of like trusting, you know, certain people that know what they're really doing's vision of like your career path, and embracing like, yes, I still love teaching in salon programs though. Like I don't need to just be on a stage. Like I love connecting with small groups. If there's 10 people in front of me, it's just as exciting as there's 6,000 because we're having a conversation. So it takes years to get to a certain level, but every part of those years before that is just going to make you better when you actually then can stand on a stage in front of 6,000 people and, you know, actually bring a message to life the way it's supposed to be brought to life. And Redken's done such a great job. What I would say is like most of our trainings are not like how to do a balayage. Our trainings are on facilitation and presentation, because it's my job to be good at trends and hair color and, you know, styling. That's why they hired me, is because I'm the hairstylist. But they have helped me know how to public speak and questioning skills and debriefing skills and running workshops. And if it wasn't for them, I would not know how to do any of that.
That's awesome.
And how many days are you working in the salon?
Currently, I'm 2. Now, I have definitely, for many years, I was kind of like a crazy person. I was doing like 5 days a week and then going to the airport and then coming. And, you know, a lot of people ask me, how do you do it all? And I said, at some point, you know, once I got to a certain level where my, you know, I'm traveling almost every weekend. I'd say 3, sometimes it's every weekend for the month. Sometimes it's 3 weekends of the month. So when you're traveling every weekend, and if you've ever really seen me show up, I'm like, I have to be very prepared. I bring probably way too many mannequins and the PowerPoint that sometimes we get to like 4 slides out of the 15 that I made, but everything takes time to set up. Plus you know, there's that balance of like, you need to rest and have a day off. And I was guilty of it for many years of not believing in that. So it's like, and it's just a generation. Like, I'm like, work hard, work hard, work hard. So I would say, but right before the pandemic, I was still around 5 days a week. Then the pandemic happened. And then it was like a good eye opening for like, how can you manage things better with time? So.
And like your peace too at the same time.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like I do think there's a little bit of balance, because I think a lot of the younger industry is very like, I want to work on like 3 people a day and have me time. And I'm like, that's cute, but like, let me I don't want you to go through everything I did, but like there is a point of like, you do have to like push yourself and put in a lot of longer days. Just make sure you get a day off here and there and do something that you love. Like make sure you take the vacation or pick up a hobby that's not totally just hair related. Like I remember I was talking to Andrew Carruthers once. I'm like, I just need like another day so I can prep the mannequins. He's like, how about the other day to not prep the mannequins, to like read a book or go for a walk? Like you have to have those things so that you don't hit the burnout.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? You said when you were, you know, you gear up, and when you're ready to go on, like when that day came and that opportunity came for you, Lindsey, were you really ready, or were you just like, okay?
Oh God.
Like, you know, like you spend yourself, you're like,
yes,
how many years? Like I've been prepping. And then all of a sudden Sam Villa is like, hey, Lindsey Olson, today is your day. And you're like,
yeah.
Oh my God, I'm freaking out. 6
Oh
hours.
yeah.
Like I commend you. Like I could do that. I hope one day, you know, something down the line, but I don't even know if I could do that. So
I was not always ready. And even if I thought I was, I had a moment, I'll share you the story about the show I was doing in Portugal. And I was already doing, like, I think I'd already done a symposium. So I don't know why I didn't like fully grasp the concept, but I got booked to do the show in Portugal. And they're like, yeah, but like show the way it was like articulated, show some tips and tricks of styling. I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to like do some buns and some ponytails, like some really like, I do a lot of very salonable hair. It's just been who I am. I'm not a very like avant-garde stylist. And they're like, yeah, how many models do you think you can do? And I was like, I don't know. If I do quick tips, it's like, I don't know, we have like 10. Like, I'll just like go for 1 to 1. Like I learned that from Sam. And they're like, okay. So like the hair I was doing was like very salonable. We prep the models one day, get all their color ready. I didn't see the event space yet. And then later on, we go and see the event space. And this stage is like one of the biggest stages I've seen in my life. And I was like, I am so not ready for this. I should have had like, the hair was going to be like this on this stage. I'm like, this was a really great learning experience. I'm like, you know, sometimes you need to like, I should have asked more questions. I was like, wow, the hair I'm doing, this ponytail is going to look like this big on this humongous stage. So, was it okay? It was okay. I think I could have done better on that one. That one's like a big one for me. So, and I look back at so many programs that I thought I was ready. And I'm like, I think, you know, I'm sure I wasn't, but you just, at some point you do have to dive in. It's like a sustain, you know, you get to that point where you're like, I don't want to watch anymore. I don't want to watch. Although I do encourage people. I'm like, God, at this point, I would love to assist somebody. Let me pass you the foils all day. I'll do your shampoos for you.
Yeah, it's pretty
Seriously.
interesting. It's just like a stylist going on the floor. They're nervous initially. But like you said,
Yes.
every step you take, every show you did, you got more positive, you got more confident.
Oh yeah.
It's second nature
Yes.
to you.
Yes. Yeah. And now you know how to like be prepared differently. And I love the quote, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And that's like a big one for me. Like I'm, like next week I go to Toronto and then the week after I'm at Philadelphia. But like 2 weeks ago, I already pulled the mannequins that I need and did the PowerPoint. Cause it's like, you have to, for me, I can't do it, even though like every weekend is something. Like this weekend is the salon centric retreat, but everything was getting done 2 weeks ago for that. So that way, like I have some space right before to like reprocess everything, and I'm not doing it the night before.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
How does that work with relationships?
That's,
I know that's a little personal, but I'm just
no, it's definitely a great question. Yeah, I'm busy. No, it's a great question. One, you have to find the right person, especially partnership, that will understand that the job. Do I love always being on airplanes? No, but I love what I do so much that it bypasses the time at the airports and the airplanes and being gone and sleeping in hotels so much. So you definitely have to have the right people that support your vision of what you want to do. And then you really do have to, I think the biggest thing is like, I don't ever go, so-and-so hasn't called me. I just put all the effort towards what I would want someone to do for me. I am the one that's sending the group text to my girlfriend saying, who wants to have a girls' night out? I go to my parents' house. I don't think you have to put responsibility on your busy schedule and not do the like, no, everybody just thinks I'm busy and no one reaches out. Like, every relationship is effort. And instead of being sad of like thinking, everybody just thinks I'm busy and no one reaches out to like go out for a drink or whatever it might be, just try to flip it and be the person that you would want them to be. Like call them, send them a text message. Hey, I'm thinking of you today. And just try to put as much effort towards it instead of like and also not getting to the point where I just justify it and I start being like, don't you know how busy of a week it is? Like that's one thing that took me a long time to learn, is to not come home or bring it to anybody else. Like when I have had a really long travel day or I got delayed, and not to walk in a door and be like, do you know what I just went through? That's not fair to anybody else. It's my choice to have a job that travels. And that person that you come home to is probably just very excited to see you. And the last thing they want to do is hear you complain about how tired you are. It's hard to do it, but it's very important and very helpful to just stay like, I'm excited to see you. Don't bring the negativity of my tiredness of like, I just went through this. It's not their fault.
I like that, especially with behind the chair and dealing with people. Like, it's like funny when people have conversations. I'm always like, they're like, how is everything? I'm like, well, I could complain, but nobody wants to hear it. And that's just,
they don't.
And the clients don't want to hear it. I don't really want to hear it myself either. And it's, it's kind of like we kind of are the driving ship for the for the appointments and how it's going to go and how we leave people at the same time. So it stems with us as a hairstylist, which
totally,
it makes me also like kind of, I know we're on a limited time. I think Chelsea said that with the Zoom time, we only are allowed 40 minutes. So I definitely want to make sure that, I ask you and pick your brain a little bit more with some questions. So with that being said, like, what is your opinion on like the industry right now after, everything that's happened? And, obviously your schedule changed, people's schedules are changing. People are finding, I think, in life a little bit more work-life balance. I can say that, especially as a owner of a gym as well. People are in the afternoons taking care of themselves. It just looks very different. It's not morning or night, black and white anymore. So give me some feedback, like where you see the industry after 20 years too.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's not the same, but I also think it kind of got worse before. Now I feel like it's starting to get better.
Yeah.
It's like, it went from this like really hustle hard, no life balance to like, I just want to work 2 days a week and go to coffee. And now what I see is more energy to people wanting to be the best. And like a little bit like, it's like the Mary of balance and also really caring about their industry and what kind of service they're doing, as well as taking care of themselves. Like the reason next weekend we're doing the salon centric retreat is it's a wellness retreat for hairstylists. Because like the number one thing I think I hear is hairstylists like
I am so excited.
you're gonna be there? Yay!
Oh my God, like so excited. I have been
Yes.
dreaming to do a yoga retreat for literally many, many years. So the fact that Redken, thank you, Redken, for inviting us, that we are going. I am so looking forward to this. Like,
I can't wait to see you guys there. Yeah.
It's like yoga, it's fitness, and then it's also, you know, business too. And
yes.
It's just like you guys put everything in one that makes like a heart just like so good.
Yeah. And think about this. This industry has never seen something like this.
Yeah, I know.
Like you can combine it. I know. Yeah. So, and it's time. And it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's at a good point of like balance. Like, I do feel like I see stylists making more investment on their education, you know, where I felt like everybody was like, oh, I'm just gonna learn it online. And I'm like, no, people are like going to classes. They're being at shows, like the feedback of them being at even Premier Orlando, like people were talking about this like crazy. I'm like, it's a trade show. But like a lot of younger stylists didn't know what this was coming out of the pandemic. If they're 5 or 6 years into the industry, they have no idea what kind of education there is. And now I feel like they're like getting there and they're putting effort towards not only life balance, but also like education and energy to make sure that they are their best for the guests. And I think about this, I'm like, if we're supposed to be the best, you need to lead by example. Like, I'm not a fan of these memes and these jokes of like stylists drink coffee all day and then eat at night and then they just drink. And I'm like, no. Yeah. You're supposed to be the elevated luxury. I mean, getting your hair done, let's be honest, is a luxury service.
100%.
This is not like essential in a sense, you know, yes, people need this, but it's a luxury service to go get a balayage and a tip out and, you know, all of these things. So lead by example, take care of yourself, make time for yourself, but also be a dedicated professional.
Love it. And the world will be a happier place too.
And yes, totally. And honestly, like when you think about wellness, everybody wants to feel good. It's going to look different to everybody. Like your idea, you know, I think about this, like the team I work at, like I like to dress up. I like to think about my outfit. And some people I work with, they want to put their energy into different things. Like they like to wear almost the same thing. Like they're like a t-shirt and jeans type of thing because they don't have to think about it as much. Like there's different things that make people feel good about wellness. It's going to look different for everybody, but ultimately everybody wants to feel healthy and happy.
So speaking of feeling healthy and happy, and since you are the it girl in the industry, tell our viewers a little bit about what is popping this fall in 2024 to end the year out. Like what's in style?
Oh, okay. So like trend wise.
Yeah.
So yeah. I feel like we're still running, like seeing a lot more natural hair color, but you're seeing more tonality. Like I will also say, and what I mean by that is like coppers and brunettes are still like way more popular than just like highlights. And like what I said earlier, I think we've gotten so much better at making hair color natural. You're also going to see a lot more base colors. And this is something I talked a lot about in 2024, but it's not going away for 2025. And anything from like base bumps to like base colors have gotten such a bad rap over the last couple of years, and they are so powerful to help the guests achieve a healthy hair result. And I'm talking even like a lived-in blonde. Base colors have gotten this bad rap, like, oh, this hairstyle's put a touch up on, now I have to break through it with lighter. I'm like, no. If the number one complaint is energy and also making sure that our guest visits are more financially okay to manage, a base color is like one of the best ways to do this, to help them have a fluid consistent look on a low maintenance. It doesn't increase their maintenance. So you're going to see more like base colors coming through to help support the hair color and the expense and the time from the guest as well as the stylist.
Love.
And of course, natural texture is not going anywhere anytime soon. You're definitely seeing more and more guests embrace their natural texture. I would say it's anything from like very natural, and we definitely have gotten away from a little bit of the beach wave. You're seeing very sexy, bouncy, healthy hair now more than ever. Talk about like the ingredients, guests. And I saw somebody make a video and I felt bad because I think she got a little bit of backlash from it because she's like, they don't need to know or they don't care. No, guests, they're caring about scalp health. They care about what the ingredients is of the product, and they want healthy hair. So now more than ever, you're going to see that they want like shiny, healthy hair, which is one thing that Redken's always been about, is how to give them shiny, healthy hair. The blowout definitely is really back. And I think it's really exciting because there's a lot of younger stylists that have really relied heavy on just a curling iron, and teaching them the fundamentals fundamentals and the principles of doing like a really nice blowout to support the style is really exciting because they need it. And this is something that their guests want to know.
So is there any new products that you could drop a little hint to us?
No, I don't have any.
about
I will say them bringing back Stay High. I don't know if you guys used it much before, but they just relaunched Stay High 18. It's like the mousse that comes out like a gel and then it turns into a foam.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, I have been obsessed with it the last like 2 weeks because it's like everything I've been using.
For fine hair or anyone, any type of hair as well?
I have used it on everyone from doing a fine hair blowout to a coarse curly hair set because the product moves so fluidly through the hair, but it has a high hold. I've used this on curly hair and coily hair and to diffuse and give them natural definition. And it has been amazing because some things like that, even just like to work the product through is a really big factor of like how much someone's going to like it. Like if they don't like the application, they might not even try the product, but the way the product moves through the hair and the hold factor, everything from the blow dry to diffusing for natural curls, this product has been like the all-star of the last couple of weeks. And I'm like, I don't think I even knew how much I missed it until it came back.
Okay, so I do want to ask because I know that the viewers kind of want to know when you're talking about a blowout, right?
Yeah,
that's what's in. So in my mind, what goes through my mind, I'm just going to tell you, is a blowout. Like I'm thinking like a big round brush in the sense of like bouncy hair, very voluptuous, kind of like Victoria's Secret back in the day runway when they used to have the big hair that was just kind of,
yes.
you know what I mean, tousled. Is that what you're talking about then?
Yes. But you don't always, and the brushes totally matter. And you'll also see Velcro rollers coming back a lot more because that's the easiest way for a style because that's the easiest way for you to like really get, like you need the blowout and then you need something to set it. And Velcro rollers are just enough heat and support instead of like a curling iron. And they're so much easier for guests to be able to use. The brushes are also super important. Like I'm on a huge...
Remember
what's that?
Remember how?
Oh yeah.
Too?
And hot rollers I think are great. Like especially like I think Velcro rollers are great for like silky hair, and hot rollers are great for anybody like with my hair, like a little bit more coarseness because they need a little bit more heat to give them the more polish. So I think even texture type can help you with Velcro rollers or hot rollers, and using the right brush. Like I teach all the time how to use boar bristle brushes because this is something that really helps with polish, and it's something that I think a lot of stylists and guests don't always reach for because they might have had a bad experience or thought the brush was too tight. But it really does make such a big difference in the finish.
No, I was going to ask you, I know we have a little bit of time here, but when you're going out in the salon industry, sort of changing little things, are you seeing the salon industry changing? Mean salons, are they becoming more boutique salons, or they still have your bigger salons? Because I get a lot of questions. People are asking me, the bigger salons, my view on it, I think it's changing a little bit. They're going a little bit more boutique-y. That's what I'm noticing. And I don't know if you notice that when you're out in the fields.
You're seeing a lot more like hybrid salons. Like I see a lot of salons. I don't know if this is necessarily the way to do it, but I feel like this is what salons are feeling they have to do, that they have to do commission as well as rental. And I don't want to say one way is better than the other, but what I will say, what I have seen is people thinking that rental is the way. And I've seen a lot of information on social media where these stylists that are 5 years and under are really struggling because they think that's the way.
Yeah.
And I guess a little bit of me is more biased of like especially when you're younger, you need team support. Like I love being a part of a salon. I want to collaborate with them. I want to talk to them. I want my fellow people, not just my guests. I want to bounce ideas off them. I also like when I changed salons, I'm like, I was so inspired by watching my coworkers, like the way that they foil the hair, the way that they blow dry. Like there's just so much energy when you actually get to work with a team. And I feel like there's a decent amount of people pushing for working by yourself and running your business yourself. And that's not, in our business, not always the way to go. If you're, like when you are a part of a team culture, they're going to events together, they're bringing in education. And I've seen people post even things like, oh, I went and picked up color for my guests and then they canceled last minute. And these people are very, you're really struggling in the beginning, and you go in to buy color and then the guest cancels, like this is where I don't think it's the best fit. Like I'm a part of a salon. I'm like, we constantly have new guests. We're in a great area. Like I said, I feel so energized working with them, learning from them, going to classes with them. Education is expensive and it's so important. And when you go to rentals too soon and you don't have the clientele, I feel like it isolates you, and I think it can like slow down your progress. As much as people think it speeds it up, I think it can take away from your progress.
Yeah, if you don't have the foundation down, you're going to hit a plateau eventually.
Yes.
I sort of see it. I mean, I've seen it go up and down. I mean, right now I see it changing back to the salon industry a little bit. That's what I'm sort of seeing.
Yes.
When I go out recruiting, a lot of them, the younger ones, are saying, I want to go to a booth. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be hard. You got to give a salon 5-7 years, and if you go to a booth, then you can go to your booth. Okay. But you got to be able to build, you got to have a foundation. Like you're saying, you got to have people you work with. I mean, I do that. So.
Yes, I totally agree. And I do think you're starting to see, like you said, a little bit more interest in it. I think there was this like confusion of like, this is the way. It's like when someone tells you, oh, do you want to own your own salon? And I'm like, not me personally. No, I like somebody else doing it. I'm like, nope. I want to walk in, hang out with my salon pros and somebody else figure out the computer system. Yes.
Not have to do the towels, not have to do any of that.
Yeah. I don't want to deal with the clients if they're upset and everything else. And
there's so many layers to it that you need to run successfully. Be a part of a team so that you can focus on your education, your relationship with your guests, your skill sets, and not have to worry about maybe like your software or your booking. And our job does become very interactive. Like I text my clients, I make sure that they like their color after their visit. Even though I've been doing their hair for 20 years, there's still this connection, but like, I want to be a part of a team that runs it too. And it speaks like our salon, our guests go to different people if they can't get in. I think stylists can feel very like, oh, I can't take a day off. I can't take a vacation because my guests. And it's like, that's when you're with a team, I don't know, let your guests go to somebody else and you'll see them next time. Like take some pressure off of yourself.
I love that. I love that. And now I know we have
couple
minutes. So I do.
Man, this flew by, didn't it?
I know. But hey, we get to hang out soon, girl. So don't.
Totally. Yes.
We're going to be meditating. We're going to be sound baths. We're doing it.
Yeah. I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah. What would you like our viewers, and like also like we have a lot of people who are in beauty school that do check out Frank Dronda Salon. I mean, I know you're gonna say go to Frank Dronda.
Heck yes.
But like what would you like them to know about, a little advice about the industry, and like a final advice from like the woman who's done it for 20 years, who built herself up, who started from the bottom and is now here. What would you like tell somebody that is?
I'm gonna have to try to choose my words wisely to sum it up fast. But I mean, I know I've said it today, but like really no one does it by themselves. Teamwork is literally everything. From the time I was 16 and I stayed with that salon for like 5 years and I worked with that salon and saw how they work together. I feel like it gave me a better understanding of work ethic and what it takes. And yes, I don't want everybody to work 14 hours without a break, but sometimes, I switched my days to accommodate a guest, and the hard work pays off. No, it's going to take time, but this industry is one of the most rewarding industries you can be a part of. Good things take time. So if you're newer in the industry, yes, the first couple of years, you're going to have some guests that are so crazy and you're like, oh my gosh, but it's going to make you a stronger stylist. Work with as many people as possible, take as many classes as possible, get involved with things outside the salon that help you stay in the salon. And that could be going to a class, a show, put together like a content creation with like some friends that keeps you excited to be a stylist, because no matter how great your team is, and Frank Dronda is fantastic, you might start to feel like you're in a rut or burned out or bored.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how great the salon is. It's your responsibility. Keep yourself excited. So you might have to go to New York or Vegas or put together like a little fun shoot and there's so many makeup artists and photographers. Everybody wants to like create together, like do something for you that can help fulfill also the salon. I think that's really important, and you'll always learn from it. So one, trust the process, take your time. It's okay. Instagram makes it very easy to think that everybody's very successful in like 6 months. Yeah. Okay. and know that it's okay. There's nothing wrong with how long you're taking to do your foils. If you only have one new guest a week, keep asking for referrals. Like, I also came from a culture that I still go up to somebody, I'm like, oh my God, I love your hair. Like, don't be, too shy to ask for clients. It doesn't mean, and I remember we've all had that point in the beginning of career when someone's like, how long have you been doing hair? And we all lie. We're like a year in, and you're like, a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because like you